analyst, Jeff Waybright, for another year. Here we are, my friend. Good to be with you.
Great to be back. Excited for Viking football, Brian, and excited to be back with you and Phil.
As the band plays the alma mater, it's hard for me to not mention missing Mike Rubin up here right now, as he has stepped away from calling the games and the PA behind the mic here at Ripley High School. Tim Brown filling in for him, and will do a fantastic job. But what a legacy that man leaves behind, and what he means to this program and community, it can't be stated.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, Brian. Tim just knows how big of shoes he has to fill this year, and he'll do a great job. But, you know, it's Rube has been here for so long. You know, I remember when he had to step down from doing the Marshall games. It wasn't the same down there when he came out to PA, and it's sure not going to be the same here either. But we're going to miss him. He's down there along the sideline on the track, watching from a different vantage point this year.
We will be without head coach Steve Sayre tonight, under the weather. So we wish Coach a speedy recovery and hope to see him back on the sidelines next week, Jeff. Other than all of those downers, hopes are high. It's the home opener, season opener. But, Jeff, you just feel this young team needs something positive to happen.
Yeah, I was here last Friday night, watched the scrimmage game with Scott. They came away from that with a lot of good film, a lot of things that they need to work on. You know, that's exactly what you do. And you got a head coach in Steve Sayre that has watched film immediately after that scrimmage game, jotted down all the things they wanted to work on, and then, as you say, is under the weather, can't be here tonight. I know it's just gnawing at him. He wants to be down there on that sideline, but we've got some good assistant coaches that are going to fill in the gaps here tonight. As Ryan said, Coach, tonight he misses his head coach. He would rather be up on top of this press box looking down and talking about calling plays, but he's going to be down there on the sideline with the rest of the Viking squad tonight.
This roster's missing some guys that we expected to be here this year, and they've moved on to different avenues in life. We only have 8 seniors on this roster. This is going to be a young football team that is going to have to grow up quickly.
Very young. A lot of pressure on Ty Stevens, senior quarterback. He's lost some of the cast he's used to having around him, Brian. But, you know, as all coaches say at every level, we're not going to talk about who's not here. We're going to talk about who is here and who's putting forth the effort to bring home a victory for the Vikings.
Jeff, tonight is the 8th all-time matchup with the Brook Bruins in town with the Vikings. Are 2-5 in the previous 7 games. And, boy, if you're a Viking fan with any history at all, those gold and green uniforms mean something to you, and it still hurts when you see them come in here to Memorial Stadium. I remember in my freshman year in 1989, undefeated. We were ranked 3rd, I believe, in the state. They came in here and beat us on our home field in the first round of the playoffs, and that was one of the biggest disappointments of my sporting career. I'll never forget it, and I know a lot of guys feel the same way.
They have been a nemesis for a long time. We had an opportunity up there last year, Brian. A couple mistakes cost us the ball game up there. We thought we were going to go on the road and steal one on Brook's home field. Just didn't happen. Sweltering heat up there last year, and a tough loss for the Vikings. But again, you know, when, as you said, when we see what looks like the Green Bay Packers coming out on the field, it does stir things up a little bit on the inside of these young men.
Jeff, a lot of pressure on Ty Stevens tonight, the quarterback. He has to carry the load early on for this Viking team. He's the experienced one.
Yeah, and I noticed last Friday night in the scrimmage, he can't take some of the hits that he takes. He hangs on to the ball sometimes a little too long, waiting for something to come open. He's much better just heaving it over the sidelines and getting back to the huddle without getting dinged up. I mean, he's going to play offense. He has been playing defense. He punts. You know, he's on the field a lot. And if he gets, you know, knocked around and gets banged up, it doesn't help this team at all. So He's got to be smart out there, play smart, and sometimes, you just can't make a play. You just got to get rid of the football and live to play another day.
Quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, they get all the glory. Football is won at the point of attack, between the tackles, in the trenches, offensive, defensive line play. That has to be improved this year for this Viking club.
Oh, without a doubt. You got the big guys up front. Bradley Anderson, he's gotten much bigger, stronger. He's an outstanding player on both sides of the ball for the Vikings, along with Carter Hall and some of those big hosses up front. As you look down on the field, there's not many players much bigger than those two right there, and they've got to anchor that offensive and defensive lines, Brian, and give some running room. We've got a couple little running backs that can get out and go and make people miss if they can get through the initial line of scrimmage and make some plays. So we're looking for those big guys up front to make the way open for these running backs.
Speaking of the big guys up front, let's go to our big guy down on the field. Phil Lyman back for year number 3. Good to have you back, my friend.
You guys got me?
Gotcha.
Jeff, I bet you didn't know that tonight was neon night. So you could have got some of your 1980s Dayglow out of the closet, and you could have jumped right in.
That'd be 78, my brother.
Phil, rough start after the 2021 season. A couple of rough scrimmages for the Vikings. They haven't put their best foot forward yet in the preseason. That could be good for the blue and white, an opportunity to maybe catch a Brook team overlooking them.
From the time that Coach Sayer took over this program, he very much had an attitude of next and up business trips, doing your job, doing it right, and letting the rest come out in the wash, so to say. There's got to be somebody running out on this field tonight excited to get some playing time, to actually show the work they put in and show that they can contribute to this program like all the people that they got to watch growing up contribute. And that's who I want to know. I want to know who tonight are we going to be talking about in the postgame for getting their first meaningful playing time and really showing what they can bring to this program.
Phil, you're close to the action down there. What was Coach Simon's message to his team as they made their way out on the field?
I got to catch the end of offensive warm-ups. I thought Ty looked really sharp. There were no drops. Good quarterback-center exchanges. I think the offense is ready to go. We talk about all the things that are making this feel weird. There's Coach Sayer and Rube and some other little things going on. But you know what? It's still night 1 of high school football. Everyone's 0-0. Everyone's excited. Good crowds out here. Jeff just doesn't have neon on. That's the only disappointment.
And of course, the one constant, the chicken wings are fantastic up here in the press box again this year, Jeff. You agree with that?
And the
Pulled pork's pretty good too, brother.
Pulled pork was great.
Thank you, Phil. We'll check back in with you midway through the first quarter. Jeff, let's keep it here before we take a quick break. Both teams pretty anxious to get this game underway. Keys tonight for this team.
Well, I think you talked about it with Coach Simon. I mean, we've got to eliminate the turnovers. We can't be giving Brook the football and keeping our defense on the field all night long. We've got to get some sustained drives, much like the old ball coach Frank Marino used to do. Let's ground and pound a little bit, and just try to keep moving the chains and keep them off the field.
All right, we'll step out. When we return, we'll have the opening kickoff here from Memorial Stadium. You've been listening to the WVU Medicine Jackson General Hospital Countdown to Kickoff right here on C98, The Bull.
Set to kick off for the Vikings is senior Ty Stevens. Gavin Hall on the carry. Brought down by number 14, Virgil Myers, and number 8, Hunter Brown.
It's just
Gives the Bruins the first down.
so the other camera's not working at all. The other
Short kickoff by the Vikings and a 14-yard gainer on first down by Brooke in Viking territory. Floats it out into the flat, complete across midfield, down across the 40, across the 35, and tripped up by Parker Boyd at around the 32-yard line.
And Brian, the Vikings having some problems over on the edge. Notice that in the scrimmage game against Scott. Scott was able to get on the edge and pick up big yardage, and Brooke has evidently seen that film as they get a long run around the far right end and now a pass completion.
Sperringer complete to Baczynski. Parker Boyd on the stop. And the Bruins in the pistol to Sperringer. Handoff inside. A little bit of running room. Carter Hall in there on the initial contact.
Pretty good job that time by the Viking interior defensive line as Brooke picks up a couple yards. Brian, they faked the end around off of that dive play. Look for that to happen here later in the game as they're looking for an opportunity to get out on the edge.
Sperringer again in the pistol. Campanelli behind him. Two receivers split to the far sideline. Bruins moving right to left. Play action rolling out. Sperringer floating out into the flat, just out of the outstretched hands of his intended receiver. Falling to the turf. That was Hornick.
And Brian, he had him wide open. He had an option there to run it around the Viking right side, his left, or float it out there. He floated it a little too long, and big third.
Yeah, it should be third down and 8.
Third down,
now.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, third down across on the sideline. Third and long. You got to feel like it's 4-down territory here if you're the Viking defense. Staying in the pistol formation. Sperringer. Campanelli behind him. Snap back. Actually, they're going to pull it out. Campanelli's going to keep it or pitch it. Sperringer to the wide side and down across the 25. He'll be shy of the first down.
Jenkins on the play for the Vikings as he got a little bit behind that play, but a burst of speed, Brian. He was able to bring the running back down short of the yards needed for the first down. Big 4th and 3 here for the Viking defense.
Baczynski on the pitch that time. That was a interesting looking play. They faked the dive up the middle and then ran the option to the near sideline. So here it is, 4th down and a long 3. Sperringer again in the pistol. He's flushed out of the pocket, rolling right, floats it across the field, touchdown, wide open from 25 yards out. And the Bruins on top.
They fake up the middle. They fake the end around. He goes to the right side, flares it out there, Brian, to a wide open receiver. Got behind the defensive backs of the Vikings, and a touchdown on the first possession for the Bruins.
Bruins lead it 6-0. Servich on to attempt the extra point kick. Snap back. Up and good. 7-0. Brooke leads it quickly here over the Vikings. And, Jeff, not the start you wanted to see if you were Coach Simon.
No, they were able to get to the edge, Brian, and do some damage early in that possession. They used the running game to set up the passing game, and they caught the Vikings looking in the backfield that time and get the touchdown. So Vikings trail 7-0, 9:53 to go here in the first period of play.
They really needed something positive to happen, Jeff, and you really felt like after all of the things that had gone against them throughout the majority of last year and then into the preseason this year, you just felt like a quick start was paramount. That makes this offensive possession very important here. You need to at least move the football. You can't go 3 and out.
And they were very close to the quarterback. That last possession, Brian, they stayed in their lanes. They were applying pressure. Defensive backs have got to learn. They're young and inexperienced, but they can't get caught looking in the backfield because those Brook receivers are very quick, have pretty good speed, and they got behind the defense for the touchdown.
Chase Heil will kick it off for the Bruins, deep for the Vikings. D'Amico along with Lawrence and Myers back to return. Heil, the right-footed soccer-style kicker, will put the ball in the air, a high, short kick. Myers will field it at the 10, up across the 20, cutting back inside, still on his feet across the 25, out to the 28-yard line. Good return there by Virgil Myers.
Mr. Excitement, Virgil Myers out there. And when he gets his paws on the ball, Brian, good things usually happen. He goes north and south, picks up good yards, gets it out to about the 28-yard line, the 28. And that's where the Vikings will start their first possession of the evening.
Garrett Moore on the stop for the Bruins. Under center will be Stevens. Handoff left side. Not much running room there up across the 30. That was King, I believe, on the carry for the Vikings.
Sure was,
Or
Brian.
K, excuse me. Ethan K.
And the thing about it is, looked like the initial push was pretty good, but Brooke, they got some big offensive linemen out there, and those linebackers filled very quickly as those defensive linemen occupied the Viking offensive line.
Short 2, 2nd and 8 now. Stevens under center again, tight formation. Man in motion is Myers. Pitch it near side, across the 30, cuts it back in, out across the 32, out to about the 33-yard line. Will bring about 3rd and medium here, Jeff. Should be 3rd and 5.
Virgil did a good job after he caught that pitch from Ty of getting to the edge. Short side of the field hurt him a little bit. If he had a little more room to stretch it out, he might have got a couple more yards, but positive play there on the sprint right.
Big 3rd down opportunity here for Stevens and the Vikings under center. Play action rolling toward the Brook sideline. Time to throw, floats it out, intercepted at the 42-yard line. Crossed the 30 and ran out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Truly into double coverage that time.
Ty, yes, and threw it against his body, Brian, and caused the ball to float. Hunter was behind the defense, but just not enough separation. As you said, had double coverage on him that time. Out of the backfield, Hunter Brown, and ball's intercepted. Brooke in good shape again at the Viking 25-yard line as they begin their second possession after the turnover.
17-yard return. Brooke an opportunity here to grab a 2-score lead early on the Vikings. Sperringer back to throw, looking to his left, flushed out of the pocket, steps up, throws it near side, caught at the 5, and it'll be ran out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. That's Gilbert on the reception.
Gilbert on the reception, and Chris Jenkins on the defensive stop inside the 5 at the 2-yard line as Brooke connects on the deep pass. He had all day to throw that as he rolled to his left and got his feet set and fired a strike.
8:17 on the clock, turning 7-0 Brook near hash, moving it right to left. Sperringer with Campanelli behind him. Play action, looking to float it out in the flat, wide open, and a great one-handed grab. Again, Jeff, that was Gilbert, I believe, in the far corner of the end zone, 13-0.
And no Viking defender within 10 yards, Brian, as the fake up inside. Our defensive backs are looking inside to the run game and got flat-footed. The play continued to go out to the right and completed for the touchdown.
Snap back, kick is up, and this one is good, and it's 14-0. Brooke will step out, and we return. More Viking football here on C98 right after this. Left to right. Brown goes in motion. They hand it off to Kay right up the middle. Across the 40, dives down to the 38, gain of 4.
Good job of Kay. Got up into the hole, saw the linebackers flashing, made a little cut, got a couple extra yards. Outstanding wrestler for the Vikings, and he's getting a shot here to run the football for the blue and white for the first time.
2nd and 6 at the 38, gain of 4 for Ethan Kay. Stevens under center again. Tight formation for the Vikings. Myers in motion, handoff to Kay, left side, running room. Down across the 35. He has the first down of the season for the Vikings, down to the 31. Gain is 7.
Another solid run, and what I really like about him, Brian, he's just a sophomore. He runs north and south. You know, he will make a little cut one way or the other, but he's not going to juke you in the hole. He's going to lower that shoulder. He's going to run as powerful as he can to get positive yardage.
Gashler on the stop for the Bruins. Parker Boyd split out to the field. Football in the middle of the field. Stevens under center. Man in motion is D'Amico. They give it to him on the counter play. Right up the middle across the 25 down to the 20. Another Viking first down.
Ball's loose, but they're going to rule him down.
Aiden D'Amico is not the guy the Bruins want to see in the open field, Jeff. That kid can flat out scoot. He's down to the 21-yard line. First down, Vikings.
The diminutive one who can hide behind those big offensive linemen. And as you said, Brian, when he gets into the secondary, he's trouble. He's very quick and very speedy. And first down, Vikings. And looks like a little excitement down there for the blue and white.
So a timeout for the Bruins. Let's keep it here and go down to the sideline and check in with our main man, Phil Lyman.
Guys, we talked in the pregame about what players signed. Show what they can do tonight. How long do you think Virgil has waited to pull off a return like that? Because we've seen flashes of him over the last couple of years, what he can do when he gets the ball in the open field. But to be able to make that return, challenge the kicker like that, a lot of energy on the Viking sideline right now, and I think we're seeing that as we come out and dominate a little bit with the running game this play. Vesson Tires Advice and Service, visiting experts at Hall's Tires on Cedar Lakes Drive in Fairplain, serving Jackson County since 1977. Guys.
All right, Phil, thank you. As Hall's Tires, again, sponsoring the Hall's Tires Sideline Report. We appreciate that. We appreciate Phil. Good to have him back again in the fold. And this looks a little more like it, Jeff. A little life from this Viking offense, getting a push up front. Offensive line doing a fantastic job on this drive.
And doing what we do, and that's run the football. The spark given by Virgil, as we said, on the kick return has just carried over, and the Vikings getting pretty good yardage and pretty good chunks right now.
Stevens directing traffic, ball to 21, just outside the red zone. Give inside to Hunter Brown. He'll pick up a yard down to the 20. Penalty flag down.
A little extracurricular as Brown hit up in the hole there. Kind of bounced off Ty a little bit. Wasn't a real clean handoff, which hampered the opportunity for him to get to that hole. And then a flag comes in late, maybe a personal foul on the Bruins.
And they're walking it toward the Viking end zone. A face mask. Just a 5-yard variety. So that'll add on. That'll be a 6-yard gain on first down. It'll be replaying first down. Now it's 1st and 4. A lot of plays in the playbook right now, Jeff, on 1st and 4. Look for a little trickery from the Vikings. Quite possibly split out to the far side is Chris Jenkins. Stevens rolling. He's got room to run. He'll turn and fire in and out of the hands of Hunter Brown. He was a step in the end zone, a pretty good throw. But you feel like Ty could have ran to the pool from here. He had all kinds of running room. He made a pretty good throw that time as Hunter was running toward the Viking locker room. Couldn't hang on.
Yeah, you're right. He had a run-pass option there. He could have gotten the first down. Hunter's got to learn to stop when he gets in that open hole right there. If he just sets down, he's wide open, and that ball's not underthrown. He kept moving away from the throw just a little bit. But they'll learn that the more they play together.
So 2nd down and 4 near hash. Stevens under center again. Here comes Brown in motion. Give his decay left side, and he picks up a yard down to the 19. It'll bring up 3rd and 3.
Big hit there by the linebacking crew of Brook.
They have some studs in there on the linebacker position. Logan Geschler in on the collision, we'll call that time. 3rd down and 3. Probably 4-down territory for the Viking offense as well.
See what Coach Simon has up his sleeve down here.
I formation. Stevens under center. He'll hand it off near side. Hunter Brown running room. He'll dive. Should be close to the first down, Jeff. They're going to mark him down right at the 11, so it'll be close.
Went back to power football that time as Kay let him up in there, threw a good block. Gave Hunter Brown some running room, and he got the first down, Brian. So this drive continues with 5:34 to go in the first period of play. Vikings trailing 14-0, but on the move.
Shook off a couple of arm tackles as well, Jeff. Impressive run there from Brown. Stevens again under center. Kay behind him. Jet sweep as Brown puts a shoulder down. He's still on his feet, dragging Bruin tacklers down to around the 7-yard line. That was all effort for 4 yards.
Sure was a great effort as he got to the left edge of the Viking offensive line. Took a hit just beyond the line of scrimmage, Brian, but continued to pump his legs and shrug tacklers off. And he's going to come up with about a 5-yard gain there.
And that was pure effort that time by Hunter Brown. 2nd down and 5, football at the 6. Vikings moving left to right, 14-0 Brook. Here's the handoff. Virgil Myers, counterplay, nowhere to go. He'll lose a couple.
Virgil couldn't get to the edge that time, Brian. Had to turn that thing back up inside. And he's at a disadvantage with his size and weight going up against that linebacking core of the Brook Bruins, and he's not going to get little to anything on that carry.
Yeah, no gain officially. So it will be 3rd down and 5 for the Vikings. Football just on the nose of the football on the 6-yard line. Stevens under center, play clock at 9. Boyd and Myers split near side. Rolling near side, penalty flag will fly, and that's probably going to be a procedure penalty on the Vikings.
Yeah, late getting the play in a little bit, rushed getting out of the huddle, and got to, as you said, Brian, to the line of scrimmage with under 10 seconds to go, and just a little anxious to make sure they got that play off.
So that'll make it a more difficult 3rd down now, from 3rd and 5 now to 3rd and 10, and I can hear Coach Sayer gritting his teeth as he listens to this. He will not be pleased. Those are the type of mistakes you have to avoid in these situations, Jeff. With a young football team looking for something positive to happen, we'll see if the Vikings can overcome that, but sometimes those are drive killers.
They can still get a 1st down even if they don't get into the end zone.
4 wide, K in the backfield. Stevens directing traffic from the pistol, drops back, flushed out of the pocket near side, and he's going to be sacked all the way back at the 25-yard line.
They're going to throw a flag on it.
It's going to be a horse collar penalty. So a big loss. Ty just has to get rid of that football in that situation. I know he's trying to make a play, but you just have to get rid of it, and it's going to be personal foul.
And you know, Brian, so often I don't think there was any intent to try to injure Ty with that. He just got in a position where that's all he could get a hold of to try to make the tackle. And as you said, they came quickly as Ty rolled to his right. He didn't get and couldn't get to the edge, but the personal foul will give the Vikings an opportunity to get a couple more plays off here. 3:27 on a running clock.
So basically a do-over here for the Vikings. It's should be 3rd and 9 now. Football just outside the, well, I guess it's half the distance, so 3rd and 11. Football at the 12, or just outside the 12.
Again, the Vikings slow to get the play in as the clock is going to wind down under 10 when they get to the line.
Football near hash. Stevens under center. And another penalty flag. Everyone not set, so it'll be 3rd and 16 now.
And again, after that play and the whistle blown, a big lick put on Ty by the defensive end out there for the Bruins, Brian. Looks like William Harvey laid a lick on him after the whistle had blown.
2:56 on the stopped clock here in the first quarter. 14-0. The Bruins lead it. Football resting between the 16 and 17-yard line. Stevens in the pistol again. K behind him, snap back. Looking up, stepping up. Throwing far, pylon, jump ball. Parker Boyd made a great catch.
Pass interference.
Parker Boyd was out of bounds, but a pass interference is going to be whistled on the Bruins. A great effort by Parker Boyd. Jeff, he wanted that one bad. Just a fantastic job to catch that football. But the Vikings are going to be the beneficiary of a penalty here.
Again, Boyd was behind the defender. There is, I don't think, face guarding anymore, but he did get his hands on Parker, and Parker still came down with that. He was just out of bounds. A great effort, great throw by Ty to throw it where only Parker had a chance of making the catch. And they're going to move the ball back down inside the 10-yard line. And 1st down for the Vikings.
So it'll be half the distance.
Or is it still 3rd down?
I guess it's still 3rd down. 3rd and 6 now.
Wow.
Football at the 8-yard line. There's going to be a quiz on this later, Jeff. This particular possession has been interesting, to say the least. Stevens under center again, 3 receivers split near side. He's rolling near side, looking to throw out in the flat, overthrows Hunter Brown. under some pressure that time. It'll bring up 4th and 6.
Ty's got to stop. He's running right into the defender. They made a good block, pushed him outside. He's got to come up inside of him, set his feet, and deliver the ball. He's fading out on that right side when he's rolling and hasn't been able to connect with Brown.
So they'll go for it. It would be a 35-yard field goal here, or a 25-yard field goal, excuse me. They'll go for it. D'Amico checks into the ball game.
Can still get a first down inside or at or about the 1-yard line.
This will be a big stand for the Bruins. The Vikings have been on their half of the field here for about 5 game minutes. Stevens looking to throw, flushed, steps up in the pocket, looking to throw, got a man, end zone, touchdown. Hunter Brown, great job by Ty Stevens to extend the play, and the Vikings are back in it, 14-6.
And notice, Brian, what did he do that time? Instead of keeping running to, he stepped up in the pocket, found an open receiver, and delivered it right on the number. And a touchdown, Vikings back in this ball game.
Kept his eyes downfield as well, Jeff. Impressive part for him. Michaela Riston will attempt the extra point kick for the Vikings. Virgil Myers will hold. Snap is back, placement down, kick is blocked. And it's 14-6. The Vikings crawl back into this one, trailing by 8 here with 2:16 remaining in the first quarter, Jeff. We'll earmark that 4th down completion for a touchdown. That might be a play to keep the Vikings in this ballgame.
Yeah, I think so. We needed that desperately. We couldn't drive the ball all the way down the field like we did and come away with nothing. So big play there for the blue and white. Stevens connecting on the touchdown pass, and now the D's got to step up. 2:16 to go here in the first period of play, and the Vikings right back in it at 14-6.
Proud of the fight they showed, Jeff. It would have been easy to fold up the tents, giving up two quick touchdowns. Vikings will not do that. They continue to fight and battle as Baczynski and Gilbert deep to return the Ty Stevens kickoff. Kicking left to right from the 40-yard line. Both Baczynski and Gilbert with their heels on the 14-yard line. 14-6, Brooke, 2:16 remaining here in the first quarter. Season opener of Viking football 2022, looking to get off the schneid of long losing streak to end last year. They would love to get one in the win column here early in 2022. Stevens set, he will approach, kickoff, low squibbing kick, scrolling back to the 20-yard line. Gilbert will field it up across the 30, running room near side 40, 45 across midfield. Ty Stevens will bring him to the turf at the Viking 46-yard line. So a couple of big kickoff returns, one for the Vikings and now one for the Bruins.
Yeah, they're going to take over on the Viking side of the 50-yard line at about the 46, Brian. 2:05 to go here. Vikings trail in the first period, 14-6. Big opportunity now for the Viking defense. They really need to get off the field as quickly as possible, get that Viking offense back on there and try to get back this game, try to get it back to even.
Sperringer in the pistol, Campanelli behind him, receiver either side. Snap back, gives on the jet sweep, running room across the 40 down to the 35, and that one's coming back as penalty flag flies in around the 43-yard line.
Yeah, it looked as if Noah Casto out there on the edge for the Vikings was being held. So, as you said, Brian, that one's going to come back. The referee back there, the white hat, was able to have that in full view.
Give him 3 on the gain. The penalty will be marked off from the 43-yard line. So a big penalty back now into their own territory.
See if the Vikings can take advantage. You know, we've always so often talked about the penalties getting you in a hole offensively, and hopefully that will happen with this one, and the Vikings can get back in possession of the football.
So the football at the 43-yard line. 43 and a half, actually. Sparringer looking to throw. He has time, setting up the screen, complete. Baczynski cross midfield, still on his feet. Will be brought down at around the 43-yard line. Another block in the back that may have been missed there, Jeff.
It looks like there's going to be another penalty, dead ball, as Noah Casto came out of the Brook sideline. He was wrapped up with one of the Brook offensive linemen. And let's see who the penalty's against.
That's going to be on the Vikings as they walk it off. Personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct on the Vikings. So a 16-yard gain and tack on 15 yards on the other side of it. 31-yard play there for the Bruins.
Yeah, and, you know, the big penalty against Brook for the hold. Now the Vikings penalty and gives them great opportunity for Brook to score.
Sparringer all kinds of time, floats it out in the flat near side. Shaking off the Viking tackler was Campanelli before he's upended by Ty Stevens.
The Vikings were there as Moore was coming in a hurry to lay a lick on the running back and just didn't wrap him up. Man, got a big lick on him, but Ty's there to clean it up.
Brooke takes timeout. We'll take 1-2, 14-6 with 1:06 remaining here in the first quarter. More Viking football after this on C98 The Bull. Still Campanelli behind him. He'll throw. Floats it into the middle of the field to Baczynski for a touchdown. Right down the seam into double coverage. A perfect throw, Jeff. The Vikings had him bracketed. Parker Boyd was there, along with another Viking defender. Perfect throw, perfect catch.
Tyson Pritt, the other defender, sophomore defensive back, quarterback for the Vikings. And as you said, split the seam, touchdown.
1:01 remaining here in the first quarter. It's 20-6. Brooke, snap back, placement down, kick is up, and it is good. 21-6. The Vikings trail will keep it here. Jeff, as the Viking defense having trouble finding a way to stop this Bruin offense here early on in this ball game. They have 129 total yards of offense on 12 plays, and most of that, Jeff, through the air. 110 yards against this Viking secondary. 3 passing touchdowns here in the first quarter.
Yeah, and, you know, the big play there, we had them push back across the 50 after a great kickoff return, and then they make a big play, and then we add to the problems with the personal foul, unsportsmanlike, and put them in great field position. This Brook team is just too good to give them short fields, Brian, and that's twice now that they've taken advantage of a short field opportunity after a turnover and a big penalty.
So a 21-6 lead for the Bruins here in the first quarter with 1:01 remaining. Chase Hale will kick it off. Lawrence, Myers, and D'Amico deep for the Vikings. All three standing in the vicinity of the 20-yard line. Fourth kickoff of the ball game for the Bruins already. Chase Hale set. He approached, kicks it off. Angle to Lawrence, far sideline. He'll field it at the 9, up across the 20, 25 running room. 30, tripped up. He was a step away from making a big return himself, Joe.
Cody Lawrence, great play on the return. Another flag comes in late. And let's see if this pushes the Vikings back further toward their end zone.
So the penalty flag laying at the 33-yard line. That was a return of 25 yards, and they're going to step it off.
Face mask. Personal foul variety, so this is going to be a big one that's going to get the ball up to almost the 50-yard line. At the 49s where they're going to spot it. And that's where the Vikings will have the ball with 51 seconds to go here.
So the Vikings, a beneficiary of some sloppy play by the Bruins. Just shy of midfield. Stevens under center. He'll hand it off to D'Amico. Gets in behind those big guys, and he'll push forward across midfield, and he'll get a really good spot down to the 46.
A great effort by that young man, and he's tough as they come, Brian, and with no doubt. They've got him listed as 5'6", 137, but that's probably generous.
Yes, very generous, Jeff. 20 seconds, 21-6 here in the first quarter. Myers, counterplay, left side, running room. He has the Viking first down, and he dives forward down to the 40-yard line, and that possibly could be the final play here of the first quarter after they reset the chains. But a good run there by Virgil. Jeff, he just put his head down, picked up 7 yards as he dove at the end to make sure he got that Viking first down.
Yeah, great vision that time by Virgil as he saw an opening, cut that thing back up the field, planted that left foot, and went forward beyond or right at the 40-yard line for the first down.
That'll end the first quarter of play here from Memorial Stadium. The Bruins lead at 21-6 over your Vikings. We'll return with second quarter action after this right here on C98, The Bull. Stevens play action, looking deep, throwing deep, near side, and it's going to be out of bounds. Parker Boyd makes a nice catch, but he was forced out of bounds by the Bruin defender. Not a bad spot to do that, Jeff. It's in 1st and 10 in their own territory. You're probably in 4-down territory anyway. You may want to try to catch them sleeping and looking into that backfield a little bit.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, Brian. And a pass that if you're not going to be wide open and not going to trick them, to throw it over there toward the sideline and lead it out of bounds.
Stevens under center, D'Amico in motion, and the Bruins. Not sure if the Bruins were in the neutral zone, Jeff, or if that's on the Vikings. We'll see.
Some big Viking offensive linemen down there, Brian.
Carter Hall being one of them.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 310. You've got Xander Stoniger, sophomore, 5'10", 220. As we said, Bradley Anderson, the junior, he's 6 foot, They got him at, what is that, 248? And an individual who has really gotten into the weight room and really gotten stronger during the all season. So we've got some hosses up there, and our running game really, Brian, after that first series has kind of gelled a little bit. We've been doing a pretty good job running the football.
So finally, they call offsides on the Bruins, and the Vikings will get 5 free ones. 2nd down and 5. Ball at the 35, near hash, moving right to left. 21-6. Vikings trail, handoff inside K. Running room down near the 30. He's going to be about a half yard shy of the first down. Good run there by Ethan K.
Sure was. A great job of the faking of Stevens that time. K comes off the first fake, gets on that left side, gets positive yardage. And as you said, Brian, just about a yard short.
3rd and 1, Jeff. 4 down territory. Vikings a little more reluctant to get out of the huddle. They're letting time bleed off of that clock. Down under 8 seconds on the play clock. 11:05 remaining here in the first half. Stevens, he'll keep it. And a lot of running room. Is a good push up front of that Viking offensive line. He'll have the first down. They'll mark him. The far side official has him marked at the 28. The near side has it marked at the 29, so we'll see what they decide on.
See which way he looks. He's looking to his right. So we may get that 28. Now he's moving back.
Well, I liked where he was going there a moment ago. He gave him about 5 extra ones, but they'll finally settle on the 28. So a 3-yard gainer. 1st and 10, Vikings.
10 minutes, 40 seconds, plenty of time in the second quarter for the Vikings to get into the end zone.
Stevens under center. Ball's on the turf, and Ethan K there to jump on it. Not a great exchange from Stevens to Brown.
That play didn't look good from the get-go. It looked like they were a little slow getting the exchange, and then he couldn't get to I think it was Virgil Myers coming across to get a fake, and just the timing was really bad, and we're going to lose a couple yards on that one.
Could have been a disaster for the Vikings. Thankfully, Ethan K there to jump on that one. 2nd down and 12 at the 30. Stevens back under center, and another pre-snap penalty. Once again, a lot of laundry on the field here in this first half.
Brian, it's just like we seem like we're rushing. The play's coming in a little bit late, and of course, you know, with Coach Simon being down there on the field, not upstairs talking to Coach Sayre, and you know that's something that we didn't really discuss earlier, but they've got a chemistry there too, and the timing of getting the plays into the huddle and back up to the line of scrimmage. So right now we're struggling. We're going the wrong way.
So 2nd and 17 now from the 35-yard line. Stevens in the pistol, 2 receivers either side. K in the backfield. Snap back. Stevens looking to throw. Flushed out of the pocket, far side. He's got a man wide open. It's in and out of the hands of a wide open Viking receiver at the 10-yard line. That was a sure touchdown if Jenkins was able to hang on to that one.
And
another penalty flag.
Was it Jenkins or was it Parker? Oh, no, it was Jenkins. You're right. But I think it was going to come back anyway. It looks like there was a defense or an offensive tackle who was WWE wrestling with one of their defensive ends. So we'll see, as it looks like the Vikings are going to go backwards. But, man, wide open, as you said, if everything's clean in the backfield, which it wasn't, but if it had been, that would have been devastating even more, Brian, with the wide open receiver. Nobody within 10 to 15 yards of the receiver that time. But the Vikings will line up again this time, Brian, back at their own 40, or yes, their 49, 2nd down in a, what do you say, a cab ride?
It's a $20 Uber ride. It's 2nd down and 31 now. Stevens just gets the play off, looking to throw, rolling near side. Down the field, wide into triple coverage, and falls to the turf. And a nice play there by Parker Boyd to go up and play a little defense on that one. We have a Brook Bruin down. Let's take it down to the sideline. The Hall's Tires sideline report. Phil, Vikings showing some life. This feels like a big drive.
Ty Stevens deserves a little bit of credit for what he showed us, particularly on that last touchdown drive. On that out-of-bounds pass interference play, he had to throw the ball to a spot he knew wasn't going to get picked off. Now, did he get bailed out a little bit by the pass interference penalty? Sure. But that was actually a pretty good throw to keep from getting picked off in the end zone like that. And then earlier, he had a really good presence of mind to know where his line of scrimmage was to get rid of that ball to deliver that touchdowns. And, we've talked for a couple of years now that, when he's shown opportunity that he likes to throw and is mobile. And I think that's something that he's getting to show tonight, and I hope he keeps doing it. Hall's Tires offers Michelin and BF Goodrich tires that are safe, fuel efficient, tires that provide exceptional performance and extraordinary value. Hall's
All right, Phil, thank you. As the Vikings football just across midfield now, as they're going to face a 3rd and 31. And, Jeff, this opportunity to throw it up. If it gets intercepted deep, it's as good as a punt, and maybe you get a pass interference call.
It could be even better. You're right, Brian, as Frankie Winter checks into the Viking huddle. Big man for the Vikings, tight end.
Stevens in the pistol. K behind him. He motion out to the near side. A lot of pressure. Stevens steps up in the pocket. He fumbles it. Ball's on the turf. And the Bruins have it. 33 out of there with it. Stripped from behind on the sack, and the Vikings will have to play defense again on the short field.
Big rush from both defensive ends that time. Ty stepped up in the pocket, but as you said, probably a play call where the Viking receivers were going straight down the field deep. Didn't have enough time for it to develop. Ty gets hit from behind, fumbles the football. Turnover for the Vikings gives the Bruins good field position once again on the Viking 47-yard line.
So an opportunity here for the Bruins to put some more space between them and the Vikings. Behringer floats it out of the flat, complete across the 45, and knocked out of bounds down around the 41, and another penalty flag flies in.
And Brooke has seen something up here in the booth. The Vikings are playing 7 yards off the line of scrimmage now, worrying about getting burnt deep on the edges, and they throw that little quick slant out there and wide open, a lot of running room, but it would have came back anyway. We got another penalty flag. Looks like a holding call against the Bruins.
Penalty flag at the 49. Camden Taylor on the reception.
That'll take them back on their side of the 50.
Parker Boyd was credited with that stop. Penalty flags, Jeff. We're setting a record for penalties here tonight, Jeff, before this is all said and done. 1st and 22. Sperringer, give to Campanelli. Draw play right up the middle across the 45, back out to midfield. Just shy of the original line of scrimmage. And again,
extracurricular going on, and that time it looks like Parker Boyd might have got his hand in the cookie jar as he pushed after the play.
Tyson Pritt on the stop after a gain of 11. Again, more penalties. We'll wait for the officials to sort it out.
And Brian, you talked about the number of flags. They're going to call offsetting penalties. We've seen some teams in the past that have had some issues with discipline. And, these officials are looking for those things after the play, the little extracurriculars.
Sperringer in the gun, looking to throw. He'll step up in the pocket, floats it over the middle of the field. What an interception! Virgil Myers comes out of nowhere and snags it out of midair, and then gives a first down Viking. And he gets a talking to from the official, but let him have some fun. Great play there by Virgil Myers.
Quite the play that time as he came from his safety position and actually came across the field. We had good coverage. It looked like, Brian, as Tyson Pritt was down there also in pretty good coverage, but Virgil comes across and leaps over both players and snags that. Boy, I would have loved for him to have been able to keep his feet on that and see what he did, because he was fired up coming off the field.
Virgil with his second career interception, and that gives the Vikings the football back. And the old turnover, Jeff, was really a tough thing for the Vikings last year, and they've evened the score here as they get the football back. Here's D'Amico on a counter play. He'll get out across the 25 out to the 27-yard line, a gain of 3.
Made something out of nothing that time as he slammed up in there. The Bruins were right there on the defensive side. He just lowered that shoulder and got what he could get, which was, as you said, about 3 yards, Brian. So a little bit of yapping going on out there. Got a little bit of rivalry brewing here.
Big Tanner Griffith on the stop for the Bruins, as Stevens will bring the Vikings to the line of scrimmage. Kay in the backfield. Under center. Hand off to Kay. First man through, and a great job by that front, blowing that play up from the beginning. No gain.
And we were about a foot from having a big play. We caught him in a run blitz that time, and we just didn't get the ball back quick enough to the running back to run by the blitzing linebacker. If he'd have got there, he'd have been into the secondary and free.
Actually gave us a yard, which is a pretty good spot for the Vikings. 3rd down and 6 at the 28-yard line. Stevens under center again, 2 men in the backfield. Give us to D'Amico right side. Not a lot of running room out to the 30. Vikings will probably be forced to punt here for the first time in the season.
7:18 to go here in the second period. The Vikings trail 21-6. And big 4th down here for the blue and white.
4th and 4.
You got to kick it at your 30, don't you, Brian? I
sure hope. Play clock down under 20 seconds. It's 21-6. Under 7 minutes to go here in the first half.
Brooke is lining up in their punt return. Coach Simon's going to take a timeout.
Simon's going to burn a timeout here. We'll take one, 2. 6:47 to go in the first half. 21-6. Brooke leads it. We'll step out. More Viking football after this. Deep, Machinsky deep to return. A good punt here by Stevens. Caught right over his head that time at the 31-yard line. Machinsky, a lot of running room up across midfield, far sideline. He'll finally be brought down at about the 46-yard line. And there's penalty flags all over the field, Jeff.
Sure are. Looked like a block in the back down there, Brian, as Colin Moore was in pursuit. Looked like the Bruin down there, one of the 2 return men got a block in the back.
There's a penalty flag on the Brook 39-yard line, and there's also a penalty flag on the Viking 45-yard line as they, and then there's one on the Viking 35-yard line. Personal foul on the Vikings. Personal foul on Brook. Those offset.
Is that not a flag?
And a holding on the Bruins.
Wow.
There'll be a quiz on that later. So, see where the penalty is going to be stepped off from the Brook 39. So that's big, Jeff, when you look at what that would have meant for field position. That's about 35 yards difference in field position.
Yeah, and I thought that Moore was being either blocked in the back or held on that, and the officials made the call. So big break for the Vikings. Let's see if the defense can get the offense back on the field quickly.
So that was an 8-yard penalty, I assume. The penalty flag was at the 39. They spotted at the 31. Here is a jet sweep, running room, first down across the 45. And a runner brought down at the 46-yard line. But there's another penalty flag at the 35.
And the Vikings are having a real struggle defensively over on the edges, Brian. We saw it in the scrimmage with Scott. The Skyhawks were able to get out on the edge and make big plays. And thus far tonight, that's where Brook has made the biggest part of their rushing game is out on the edge. So big break again for the Vikings with the holding call. So they're going to move them back once again to about the 25-yard line.
Jeff, there's going to be a lot of teaching opportunities in both locker rooms whenever these teams do some film study on Monday, as Sperringer in the pistol, Campanelli behind him, fakes the give to him, now rolling near side, looking to throw. He'll float it out into the flat, complete, as Jenkins is going to be there, and a quick whistle. Wow, Brook player still on his feet, and he's going to be blown dead, and the Brook faithful not pleased. And Jeff, I honestly can't blame them. Camden Taylor with a great effort that time as he's standing in the Viking end zone about 65 yards away from the play. They're going to say his forward momentum had been stopped at the Viking, or at the Brook Bruin 39-yard line, rather.
And that's a big play for the Vikings. The Vikings were right there after he had made the initial catch. He was wide open in between the Viking linebackers and defensive backs. And we came up and laid licks on him, but we just didn't wrap up. He was bouncing off and continuing up the field.
2nd and 2, Sperringer again. Campanelli behind him. Snap back. Couple of play actions floating into the flat far side. Campanelli with the catch across midfield, 45-40. Into the open field, 30. And he will be brought down by Myers and Boyd after a big gainer for the Brook Bruins.
And again, that little underneath crossing route, Brian, wide open. And not only was he open, he had a couple of blockers leading him down the field. And without Myers and Boyd being back there to make the stop, he goes all the way to the blue Viking end zone.
31-yard gainer. Pass from Sperringer to Campanelli. Man was moving toward the line of scrimmage early that time. No call. Campanelli gets the ball up the far sideline, down across the 15. Should have been a penalty on Brook. No call. As that time, number 5, we don't have on our roster, was in motion early, but to no avail.
I'm going to have my buddy who is really, really good friends with the WVSSAC to call them and have them start putting numbers so we can recognize these guys.
It's really not that difficult.
I thought it was mandatory, but evidently it's not.
Small amount of effort. 1st and 10, Bruins. Sperringer will keep it, and it splits wide open as he puts his shoulder down, dives forward. He's going to be upended at the half-yard line.
Virgil came up there and made a stick, but Oh, man, big play for the Bruins.
So 13 and a half yards on the carry. And the Bruins will call Campanelli's number again, and he'll walk into the end zone. 27-6. The Bruins lead it here with 4:41 to go here in the first half.
Both teams were lined up for that play. The official blows the ball into play, and it's like the Vikings weren't ready after he blew the whistle. And they just easily make it across for touchdown number 4.
So their first rushing touchdown of the night. Placement down, kick is up, and it is good. It is 28-6. The Vikings trail here in the first half. We'll step out. More Viking football after this on C98, The Bull. D'Amico trying to track it down. He'll pick it up at about the 7, reversing field. The near side, he's into the open field. 30, 35, 40, cuts it back. 45 out to the 47. What a return by Aiden D'Amico, Jeff. And boy, he was a step from walking into the Viking end zone, and that would have been huge. But nonetheless, a big return, giving the Vikings a little bit of life here with some great field position.
A little deeper kick than the first 3 times they kicked off. And D'Amico makes a great play going back and corralling that football, turning it back upfield and coming up beyond the 45 to the 47.
So the Vikings will break the huddle here, trailing 28-6 with the football. The give near side, Hunter Brown, and a handful of jersey, and Hunter Brown battles forward out to the 49, and there's a penalty flag. This is an undisciplined bunch of Bruins, Jeff. They are hitting Vikings out. I think Hunter Brown was about 2 steps out of bounds that time. And a great effort, Jeff, by Hunter Brown. He was in the grass at about the 47, and he fought out to the 49, and you're going to tack 15 yards on from there.
Yeah, and the Brook teammates kind of getting on their linebacker who was out there, Brian, and I wish we had his number.
Darian Hilton would be the
offender
that time.
I was just getting ready to say, if the Vikings can come down here and cut this lead in half, I think we get the ball back to start the second half.
Where's the line of scrimmage? There we go. All right, we're at the 32 now. Everybody's still in the preseason here. Actually, the 36, excuse me. Here's D'Amico. Gets the handoff on the counter across the 35 down to the 34, gain of 2. D'Amico, a tough guy to find. You alluded to that early, Jeff. Gessler in there on the stop. He can get in behind those guards and tackles and get lost. And he can pop out the other end quickly. The fastest guy on the team. I don't think it's even that close. He is an absolute burner when he gets into the open field.
They got him at 137. He might be.
If he's 137, I'm 150.
We know that ain't
We know
true.
that's not the truth. Here's Ty Stevens under center, directing traffic. Myers in motion, play action, rolling near side, looking for room, and he'll just throw it away. A smart play. He took a shot at the end of it, but a good play there by the senior quarterback. Get rid of it.
Yeah, that play was blown up early as the Brook defensive line got quick penetration, and there was nowhere to run or hide for Ty, so he gets rid of it and brings up 3rd and 7.
Third and a long 7. Stevens will break the huddle. 2 guys in the backfield. D'Amico in motion. Pitch it out to D'Amico, looking for running room. He turns it upfield. He's got the first down, or he's going to be really close. Jeff down across the 30, and he's going to be about a half-yard shy down to the 28-yard line.
And he showed that burst of speed you were talking about, Brian, as the pitch out there was a little delayed, but he hung right in there, got it, burst up off the right side of that offensive line. Big play now for the Vikings, 4th and 1.
He just put his foot in the ground, Jeff, and decided, turned upfield, and a very, very good run there by D'Amico. It's 4th and about a half a yard. Stevens under center, and there's a penalty flag.
No.
So it could go from 4th and 1 to 4th and 6. We shall see. Hopefully the Bruins lined up in the neutral zone. As we still have some conversation back and forth between.
It's going to be against the Vikings. We might have lined up incorrectly there.
Vikings are moving backwards,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming that is going to be the case.
Lined up in the neutral zone, off sides on the offense. You don't see that very often.
So 2:40 to go here in the first half. It's 28-6. The Bruins lead it. Football back at the 33-yard line. More whistles. Viking timeout. Let's keep it here. Let's take it down to the sideline one more time for Phil Iman. Phil, what do you have down there for us?
You know, you were talking about the amount of flags that we're seeing tonight. Earlier, when everyone was celebrating Virgil Myers' interception, when he popped up and everybody was mobbing him, the officials went and spoke to both head coaches to tell them that they think this game is getting out of control and they were going to tighten it up a little bit. So apparently the officials aren't very happy with how chippy this game is getting either, guys.
All right, Phil, thank you. And I think that's okay. I like it to be a little chippy. These two teams don't particularly like each other that much. Viking fans have a lot of distaste for that Bruin team on the other sideline because of all the history and all the heartbreak that they have ushered up for us in Viking football history. And you don't want to take the fun out of it. You let them jaw a little bit, Jeff, but don't let it get out of hand. They need to have some fun.
As long as it's not a bunch of cheap shots, late hits, on players who are defenseless or something of that nature, Brian. I mean, hey, a little smack.
Let them have some fun. Let them have some fun.
We have that up here.
Yeah, you and I are talking smack in the pregame and during the commercials. Stevens under center. They're going to go for it. He's going to keep it, and there's nowhere to go. And they're going to lose a couple of yards. And then another penalty flag flies in. And that could be on Ty Stevens. And he'll lose, looks like 4 on the 4th down attempt. And we will await again. This game is going to be at least an hour and a half longer than it should have been simply because of penalties. And this one's going to be on the Vikings. They're going to step off 15 more yards for a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct on the Vikings. So that will move the Bruins into Viking territory with 2:26 to go here in the first half.
Well, the guys in the stripes have kind of taken over and made this not much fun right now.
It has certainly been interesting. Now, Campanelli takes the handoff across midfield, down across the 45, down to the 40.
Hunter Brown on the stop. And looked like Casto coming up in there to assist a little bit. But another big first down gain for the Bruins. 2 minutes to go on a running clock. Boy, a big disappointment there for the Vikings not being able to get on the board that last drive.
Football to the 40. Sperringer looking to throw. He's got a man, and a great play by Virgil Brown to break, or Virgil Myers, excuse me, to break on that. The ball was in the hands of Taylor. He couldn't hang on. Pass broken up.
Yeah, we talked about Taylor making that catch and that long run that was called back after about, well, there was definitely some wrapping up and some hitting on that one. Meet Mr. Virgil Myers. Big hit by Virgil.
So that'll bring up third down for the Bruins as time ticking away. 1:45 to go. Turning clock here in the first half. 28-6. The Bruins lead it. Sperringer in the pistol again. Looking to throw. Caught. Stop route. Far sideline. Makes a man miss. And Pritt will bring him down at around the 24-yard line.
Looked like Boyd coming up hard to make a play, and he just spun out of that. And good job there by the sophomore defensive back from Ripley Pritt to stop the touchdown from happening.
Gilbert with a gain of 16. 1:37 to go here in the first half. Clock turning 28-6. Looking for more. Give it is far side. Down across the 20 is Moore.
Look like Hill and Pritt again on the stop.
Give him 5 to the 19.
Clock approaching the 1 minute mark as Brooke, I believe, calls timeout.
Timeout Bruins, it appears, but both teams staying on the field.
Yeah, no instruction, just calling it to stop the clock.
So now another conversation.
Hey, Jeff. Both of them stopped down or ISO down a couple.
You gonna put 12 seconds back on it?
Yeah, a little bit.
That was a late timeout because I was watching to see if they were going to get the playoff before the 1 minute mark, but very generous addition of time to the clock.
So 1:24 on the clock. Sperringer rolling near side, looking to throw. Vikings have it covered up, and he throws behind the play. It's Gus Gilbert for a touchdown from 19 yards out. Good vision from Sperringer, Jeff. The Vikings had it covered up near side. They had his two initial receivers covered, and a nice play by Sperringer. He broke the cardinal rule of throwing back across your body into the teeth of the defense, and he got away with it. Touchdown, Bruins.
He kept his head up. He was able to see the Viking defenders were overrunning in the backfield as he rolled to his right. And you're right, Brian, but he's got a big, strong arm, and he was able to thread the needle that time for the score.
35-6. Vikings fall behind by 4 scores here as we approach the Johnson Insurance Agency halftime report with 1:17 remaining here in the first half of play. And now it kind of feels like, Jeff, you just don't want to make a big mistake here and gift them another opportunity to score a touchdown here late in this first half.
Yeah, you're right. We were just speaking, Brian, about maybe cutting the score in half to get it to 28-14, and the Vikings an opportunity to get the ball first and second half. But with the lack of getting the first down on that big fourth down play, gives the Bruins good field position, and now 35-6 our score with 1:17 to go.
Welcome newly minted Hall of Famer, the Viking Football Hall of Fame. Welcomed father, son, Coach Buffington and Jeremy Buffington. Coach Buff up here in the booth. Well, it's good to see you, Coach.
Brian, I liked him better as a coach than a player for Ravenswood. I'm glad to have him in our Hall of Fame, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. And
Steve Buffington, a great receiver for the Red Devils for the Glenville Pioneers. I saw him play when I was just a kid, just a young kid here at Ripley High School.
Oh, here we go with the age thing, I guess, huh? Short kick. It's going to be caught by Pritt at the 40. And then Parker Boyd called for a fair catch, but they're going to blow it dead right at the 40-yard line. Coach Buff kept my kicking leg working throughout all those years. I appreciate him big time. So big honor for those guys. Congratulations. Father, son.
Jeremy?
Going in, pretty neat. I went in after my brother, so I know it's pretty cool to be a part of that with a family member. So
and I was able to go in with my brother.
That's
so
right,
that
yeah.
cool.
The brothers, right?
brothers.
So no return. Football at the Viking 41-yard line with 1:12 to go here in the first half. Vikings trailing big. Coach Buffington will remember the 1989 disappointment here as Vikings, we came in highly ranked, and Bruins came in and knocked us off. Had their green blazers on when they got off the bus, and it seemed like there was about 400 of them. What a fantastic football team they had. You sure did. They were a intimidating presence at that point, as again, here we go with more penalty flags. This is going to be on the Vikings again, it appears, Jeff.
Yeah, 5-yard motion penalty. We'll take the ball back to the 36-yard line.
We're going to have a quiz at halftime, see if anyone can guess the penalty yards between the two teams.
What's the prize?
Closest one, Joe Mullins will buy you dinner at your wherever you choose.
Or they can come up here and get a piece of this delicious pie that I believe his wife Becky made.
1st and 15. Stevens dropping back, steps up in the pocket. He'll run with another penalty flag. Football's loose. Bruins have it into the open field and all the way down to the 1-yard line. We'll see if it stands. That was Baczynski, I believe, Jeff. I had a hard time seeing who that was. We'll see who the penalty is on.
I couldn't tell if it was 1 or 7 across the way, but
penalty flag laying at the 32-yard line.
Nevertheless, a big play once again by the Bruins, and they're going to pick the flag up, so it must have been against the Vikings.
That was Geschler on the return from the 32.
Wow.
All the way down to the, looks like they're going to mark him at the 1-yard line, so 31-yard return.
And Brian, what was a very competitive ball game early in this game has kind of turned into a little bit of a blowout here in the first half, as Brooke knocking on the door again. 35-6 our score, with Brooke threatening to score again with 56 seconds to go here in the half.
Turnovers an issue as Sparringer will keep it. He'll dive into the end zone. No, there we go.
Yeah.
Late indication. That'll make it 41-6.
Wow. You just mentioned we don't need to turn this thing over or give them an easy opportunity to score late in this half, and that's exactly what has happened.
So another rushing touchdown for Sparringer, his second. 51 seconds remaining. Kick is up, and it is good. 42-6. The Vikings trailing.
Virgil dinged up a little bit. He almost got there. to block that extra point. Looks like he's got a little bit of a hitch in his get-along as he comes off the field for the Vikings.
Slowly making his way to the Vikings sideline.
Tough kid, 42-6. Our score here in the second period, 51 seconds to go in the half. And
21 points in the first for the Bruins, 21 points and counting here in the second for the Bruins.
The Vikings have been their own worst enemy, Brian, with the turnovers and the not being able to get the short yardage fourth down play that could have brought them into within a score or two scores, rather. And now it's out to a 42-6 lead for the Bruins.
So now Garrett Hornick will kick off from the near hash. Jenkins deep with D'Amico and Lawrence. Hornick, a short kick, angling near side, or far side rather, to Boyd. He fields it at the 36. Coming back across the field, he'll get about a yard.
Good coverage by the Bruins on that angled kick to the second layer of the Viking return team. Boyd fields it, as you said, brings it back up the field. He's going to be stopped at the 37, I believe is where they're going to mark it.
So now you feel like you take a knee, Jeff, and go to the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, you sure don't want to take a chance of getting one picked and anything crazy.
Stevens under center, 43 seconds remaining. They're going to hand it off. D'Amico near side, across the 40, and he's driven to the ground at the 41-yard line. Good stop there. Bruins bouncing around. They're feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
I probably would too, Brian, but their linebacking core is pretty good. They not only get to the football, but when they get there, they deliver a blow.
They rally to the football very well. 15 seconds. The Vikings don't have to run a play. Time ticking away. 8 seconds. And that will do it here in the first half of play from Death Valley Memorial Stadium. The Vikings trail big to the visiting Brook Bruins here on home opening night of 2022. We'll step out when we return. We'll have more of the Johnson Insurance Agency halftime report after this on C98, The Bull. because that means they've scored a lot of touchdowns here this evening. But those guys have been able to at least get us in position to put some points on the board.
Yeah, Brian, and early in this ball game, the Vikings were going toe to toe with the Brook Bruins. Turnovers on downs, things like that have kind of decimated this Viking squad. They had a lot of fire, came out all fired up, and turned the ball over and give Brook opportunity to jump out to a big lead, come back down the field. And Ty Stevens connected with the touchdown. The point after was no good. We were right in this ball game, and then the Bruins kind of took over. The running game of the Bruins, the strength, the passing game, everything was clicking for them, and the Vikings were having some real problems.
I'm going to give you two guesses, and I want to see how close you can get. Total penalty yards between the two teams.
Penalty yards? 150.
Close. North of that.
Really?
175 in the first half. 11 penalties on the Bruins for 110 yards. The Vikings, 9 penalties, 65 yards. You stack the penalty yards on there with the turnover ratio. The Vikings are -3 in turnover ratio. They put the ball on the ground 4 times. They've lost 3 of them and had 1 interception. So 4 turnovers for the Vikings, 1 for the Bruins. That resulted in 3 scores for the Bruins. And you're looking at a 35-point deficit or 36-point deficit. Take those turnovers out of there, Jeff. Maybe it's a 2-score game. So the penalties and the turnovers can make such a difference in a football game.
And what did we say in pregame that the Vikings couldn't do? They couldn't turn the football over. They couldn't give Brook Bruins the short field opportunity to score quickly. And unfortunately, that has been happening here thus far in the first half.
So the pride of Jackson County, out on the field now, Jeff. And if you're Coach Simon in that locker room right now, at this point, you're trying to keep your team engaged. You're trying to keep your team getting better. You're building for the future. This football game is out of hand at this point, barring an unforeseen miracle. You're probably not going to win this football game, but you still have another game next week, and the week after, and the week after that you have to build for.
Yeah, I'm probably on my cell phone calling Coach Sayre. And I don't know if Coach will answer the phone right now, but seriously, Brian, you're exactly right. They've got to continue to play. They've got to continue to compete out here on the field. The worst thing that can happen is for them to come down back out here in the second half and just kind of lay an egg on it and, not give effort, not give a lot of things can happen there. Bad habits form, of course, but you get people hurt when you're not playing full speed. You just, unfortunately, I think probably all of us who have ever played this sport have been in this situation, and it's not fun. But you got to come out and compete. You got to come out and try to execute. You got to try to work on the things. I mean, we were moving the football pretty good on the ground, and more or less, though, running right at them. And so let's see if we can get back out on the field and get a good drive started, pound the ball into the end zone, get a score, maybe start feeling a little better about ourselves. But it needs to happen very quickly here as we start the second half of play.
I think we found something on the right side of the offensive line that they liked. They were getting in there. Hunter Brown was finding some room. D'Amico was finding room. Ethan Kay was finding room. So I expect to see a little more of that as the night wears on. They're going to try to extend this game and try to keep the ball on the ground, try to keep everyone healthy, and try to make some positive strides here in the second half.
And more than likely, Brooks ones won't be on the field very long in the second half. I mean, they've got 9 more games this season, too. They don't want to take a chance of getting some people dinged up out here. As you said, it was getting a little bit of chippy. I think more chippy verbally than physically. And the officials, littered the field with flags here in the first half. 175 total yards is a lot in a ball game. And that's just in the first half for the Vikings.
Jeff,
and Bruins.
We'll step out. When we return, we'll have newly minted Hall of Famer join us. Former Viking coach Steve Buffington will join us when we come back here in the Johnson Insurance Agency halftime break. More after this on C98, The Bull. News. We're joined now by former Viking coach, a Ravenswood standout on the gridiron, Coach Steve Buffington. Coach, how in the world are you doing, man? It's good to see you.
I'm doing good. I'm just glad to be here, and it's good to be back, and just to see all the memories, the things we have, from when you played and when you coached, and around these kids. I hope that they appreciate the memories that they're making tonight, win or lose. To being a part of that and it's something they'll always have.
There's something really special about Friday night football.
There is. The music and stuff that I can remember, for us, coming out on the field. Of course, you got your own fight songs, but if that doesn't get you up and get you going, and I feel for those people that don't understand it, have never felt that.
Yes.
It's a really special thing.
Talk about
to come out with that.
Your recollection of 1989. We had a fantastic football team.
Yes.
Brook Bruins came in here and really jumped out on us early. I can remember coming around. That's when we dressed over where the visiting team dresses now. Yeah. I can remember coming around the corner there and seeing a wall of blue and white and a wall of green and gold, people standing on top of the concession stands. It's the biggest crowd I've seen at this stadium, and a big disappointment for us to not pull off that victory. But what a night for Viking football.
It was, and it was a great night. And that's what you play for those opportunities to do that, and you never know when that's going to come. So that's why you practice hard, and you get out there, and you want that opportunity to be there and be a part of it. And it's something that you say that's something that's ingrained in you that you always remember. And I can remember my times on the field, on this field, as a Pioneer and as a Red Devil on there, that were very special. And even watching as I grew up, it's great memories that you make.
And Brian, I'm just a little bit older than you, and Steve's not a whole lot older than I am, but I do remember watching Buff, and he was quite a receiver. He did something. I especially remember the Glenville game here, and always respected him as a player. Didn't really know him, Actually knew his dad probably before I knew him. Played some golf with his dad out of Green Hills. He was a tremendous individual also. But Steve and I have become good friends and totally respect him and what he did at Ravenswood, at Glenville, and even coming over here and what he did for guys like you and others, student athletes at Ripley High School. We really appreciate it, and I'm just tickled to death see him and Jeremy go into the Hall of Fame.
That's what's so special is having Jeremy out there with me tonight, because I knew what it meant to him, and as a coach and then as a parent, seeing the heartbreaks and seeing the victories and the times and what it meant, getting ready for the games and coming out there and being in the locker rooms, and talking with him about everything, and I just was talking with Mr. Hassefluke right there too, who him and Jeremy were best friends growing up, and watching these guys like this go on and succeed and doing that, and it's special. I don't think there's anything that can match that.
He's going to get a Hall of Fame plaque. He's also going to get a ring tonight.
Yeah,
Coach, Talk about that.
He had a ring. I didn't know anything about that. That was kind of a shock to me. We're sitting out there getting ready to be introduced, and he says, "I'm going to ask her to marry me." I said, "Well, if that's what you want to do." He goes, "No, I mean right now." I'm like, "Okay." I said, I guess you don't need my permission." And,
pretty neat moment.
So that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
And her, she's got 2 little girls, her sweethearts, and I love them to death, and she's a good girl, so you just want the best for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you want, yeah.
How's your golf game?
Well, it's getting a little better. I've been putting a little better because I'm one of the worst putters out there, but I've been shooting in the low 80s the last couple times out and hitting the ball and stuff.
Good.
But I won't be in any golf Hall of Fames, so that's not going to happen.
And we will say this, and on a personal note, Steve's had some battles here lately too, health-wise, and he's persevered. He's a fighter. That's what he does. He's done it all his life. He's a competitor, and he's not going to let the health stuff beat him. He's going to fight back.
It makes you really appreciate, the seeing the things like this, and just coming back to here and walking, and you see people, and even like you, Brian, that have turned out so great. The people we worked with, and and had a chance to see you grow up and stuff, and become men and have your own families now, and that's growing up, and that's precious. That's just it's such a great thing. I'm just so proud to have been a part of that for so many different people and in different places. I was blessed.
They may not know him as Steve. Everybody knows him as Buff.
I know him as Coach Buff. Yeah. Coach, congratulations. It's great seeing you.
Thank you.
You look good, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Good luck to you guys the rest of the year.
Thank you,
Be
sir.
watching you.
All right, man.
Good to have Coach Buffington with us there, and a neat moment, Jeff. And he's always been someone that's been in my corner since the day I stepped on campus at Ripley High School, and I've always remembered that. He's always been a cheerleader for me, at 14 years old, out there kicking extra points and field goals, and I never forgot that. He was always, along with Coach Marino and the rest of the coaching staff, I was probably with Coach Buffington more because he and I were always back away from all the action, so he and I talked quite a bit, and it's neat to have him in the Hall of Fame, and Jeremy, clearly, a very deserving honor. I mean, he was an outstanding running back, and a neat moment, man. He gets inducted into the Viking Football Hall of Fame, gets engaged within a matter of minutes. So, pretty neat moment. Congratulations.
And, Coach Buff was just, he was unbelievable. I mean, he had natural speed, natural quickness. He had great hands. He was fearless going across the middle and taking hits, and just he played a spectacular game. I mean, they won the game here in the playoffs, and he was a vital role player in that victory for Glenville State, and quite a ball player.
So it's cooling off here a little bit at Memorial Stadium, and we're hoping the Viking offense will warm up here in the second half. We'll step out as we come to the end of the Johnson Insurance Agency halftime report. When we return, we'll have second half action after this on C98 The Bull. time on the clock, Jeff. Both teams were back out on the field with 2 minutes remaining in the half. And they just put 3 minutes back on the clock to let everyone warm up for another 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Well,
Brooke didn't even bring their band tonight.
I contest. Just make halftime 25 minutes. Let's just make it 25 minutes, and we'll go from there.
You had to give Rick a chance to get all the breaks, sell more advertising, do some stuff.
Right. That's right.
Make a little jingle.
While we have a moment, I want to thank Jennifer Redmond, Sean Grandin for their work back at the station here prior to tonight's broadcast. We have some new equipment, and I want to thank our main man, Shadow Shannon, for making that happen. Almost a birthday boy. I think Tuesday will be his birthday, so an early happy birthday to Shadow, and special thanks to him and the powers that be at Big River Radio for making the new equipment happen, and the guys from Mountaintop Media helping us learn how to use all of this, so we appreciate that. Yeah, we're getting there.
We got more laptops sitting around here than I do in the office, man.
We got a lot going on up here, that's for sure. So we hope that everything sounds okay. We're working through some kinks and working through some things that we're going to have ironed out in the near future. But while we have a moment, we have Phil on the sideline, and Phil doing his thing down there for the Halls Tires Sideline Report. Phil, nice to have you back. Nice to have you on the sideline. We had you up here with us a lot last year because of the equipment wasn't working, so you're the beneficiary of some new equipment as well. But we have had a wrinkle or two that we will get ironed out for you.
Well, guys, we're just going to we make it, right?
That's right.
I'll tell you one thing that I've noticed down here that I think is, other than the new equipment that you all have, that's my favorite thing I've seen tonight is the new LED down indicator.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure an airplane could see that.
Yeah. That's a fantastic feature for sure over there. As Brian Wilson, he's one of the guys toting that around. He wanted me to point that out tonight, and there he goes. He gets a little former Viking receiver, went on to play football at Fairmont State. A fantastic player in his right as well. I would hate to tell him that in person, Jeff, but Brian, a great guy, and we appreciate what he does over there with the chain crew.
Yeah, those guys, we go to church with some of them. It's interesting to discuss the game with them and hear from them about what they hear while working the sidelines.
Yeah, they currently appear to be solving all the world's problems over there right now as we take a peek at them.
I'm just glad they don't have access to our food up here. I've seen them all eat.
Don't even talk about that. We don't want people coming up here, Jeff. We got a good little thing going up here. So second half action about to begin. 42-6, the Vikings trail to be Heil, to kick it off. D'Amico Myers and Lawrence deep for the Vikings. Be kicking off left to right toward the east end zone. Heil kick this one. Will be fielded at the 8 by Lawrence across the 15, angling toward the far sideline. 25 back in to the middle of the field. Ball's loose. Bruins have it at the 32-yard line. A pretty decent return. Now going to be foiled as out of there with it come the Bruins.
Excellent return, as you said, by Lawrence. Just as he got into the traffic, was trying, I think, Brian, to maneuver the ball where he wouldn't get hit on it, but in traffic it came loose, and the Bruins recover. So 1st and 10 for the Brook Bruins at the Ripley 33-yard line.
So back in business with a chance to add on to this lead that they have built up here in the first half, as second half Action underway now as it's their first possession here the second half. Sperringer gives to Taylor, makes a man miss, and he's upended at the 31-yard line. Chris Jenkins on the stop.
Jenkins coming up there and laying a lick on. He's a 6 foot, 165-pound sophomore. So, as you said, Brian, growing pains for the Vikings, this team and the coaching staff. A lot of youngsters out there who were playing freshman ball last year now under the Friday night lights and getting a lot of valuable experience.
Sperringer in the pistol again. Campanelli behind him. And movement on the Vikings. It'll be 2nd and 3. Penalty number 21 of the ball game when both teams combined.
Looks like we had a little blitz package going on there that time and got a little antsy as the Vikings jump all sides, giving Brooke an easy 5 yards.
2nd down and 3. Football at the 26-yard line near hash, moving left to right. 42-6 Bruins. Sperringer again in the pistol. Campanelli again behind him. We give it to Campanelli, and he's going to run into a couple of Viking tacklers right about the line of scrimmage.
There's going to be 15 yards on Brooke as Viking number 66, looks like Jacob Torres Sr. Was back there, and he and one of the Brook linemen kind of jawing, and the Brook player gives a little chest bump and gets flagged for it, I believe.
Moore and Brown combined on the stop, and it will be 15-yard personal foul on the Bruins. Penalty flag number 22 combined, and we're going to keep a running total.
And Brian, you called it. I mean, Brook's players all played like they have a little chip on their shoulder, and there have been a lot of penalties that later on in the season, as competition gets a little stronger, those things will come back and bite you.
So it's 2nd down and 18 now, back at the 41-yard line.
See if the Viking defense can take advantage of the big penalty.
Sperringer in the gun. He'll hand it off as they go wide side. Moore there on the stop. Gain of about a yard.
You called it, partner. Moore in great pursuit that time as he came from the backside and wraps up the Brook running back.
Colin Moore, the third leading tackler returning from this team for his career. He came in tonight with 66 career tackles. Handful tonight as we dip under 10 minutes remaining here in the third period, 42-6 Brook. Started out as a pretty good crowd, now has thinned out a bit, as you can imagine, as the game has gotten out of hand here in the second half, and a timeout by the Bruins. Will take one too. 42-6, the Vikings trail here with 9:46 remaining in the third period. You're listening to Viking football on C98, The Bowl. 17 for the Bruins. The Viking 40-yard line. Hornick back to punt. Myers deep to return. He'll angle it toward the near side. Myers will catch it at the 5. Straight up the field across the 15. Still on his feet at the 20. Down the near side, a handful of jersey. He'll be brought down about the 23-yard line. And Virgil's showing a lot of fight, and another penalty flag will fly in.
Wow. Virgil looked like he was down 2 or 3 times on that return. Brian, a gutsy play by Virgil Myers. And at the end of the run, a Brook lineman comes flying in there. And they're going to call personal foul on the Vikings.
Excuse me? Wow. So half the distance will wipe out a pretty good return.
Wow.
Goodness.
So,
okay. So penalty flags
flying high here tonight.
racking up from the 22 to the 11. That's an 11-yard penalty. With 9:31 remaining here in the third period. Here's the give to Brown up across the 15 out to about the 18-yard line. Gassler on the stop first. And 10 for the Vikings on that play. Now it will be 2nd and 3. Football. Nose of the football on the 18. Vikings moving right to left. 2nd down and 3, 42-6 they trail. 8:55 to go in the ball game, or third quarter rather. So Kay gets the handoff and he's stacked up right at the line. No gain.
Viking offense needs to really get some type of sustained drive going here, Brian, on this possession. The defense was able to stop Brook from getting into the red zone and scoring on their possession. So let's see if we can turn things around a little bit.
Schrader on the stop. 8:20 to go, third period. Vikings trail by 5 scores. Stevens hands it off to D'Amico, right side. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage again.
Penetration, excuse me, Brian, by the Bruins caused D'Amico to move to the outside, and they just strung him out. And 2 plays for the Vikings. Not much going on. Here comes the Viking punt team on 4th and 2, deep in their own end of the field. Don't want to do anything to give Brook a...
Earlier in the ball game, he'll get a chance again here. Pretty good one. Angling toward the far sideline. He's going to take a big Viking bounce and go out of bounds at the Brook 44-yard line. So a punt of 38 yards with no return.
Ty kicked that out there, ended up taking a shot, going over and asked the official, why is that not a penalty? So he gets himself back up. Good kick out of there. Got the Vikings out of their territory and across the 50-yard line.
7:26 remaining here in the third period, 42-6. Brook, big lead on the Vikings. And a 36-point lead. For the Bruins. New quarterback in the ball game. 25.
Mazingo
in there. He'll hand it off.
That's the one thing about playing Brook. You get all kinds of pronunciations of last names when you play the kids from up in Wellsburg and Follinsby areas. Scores of interest: Hurricane 35, Winfield 7. Also, Ravenswood was winning 22-0. The last score we had over Magnolia, and Roane County 30, St. Mary's 14. opponents, some of those opponents of the Vikings in the future.
Mozingo takes the snap. End around, ball's on the turf, grabs it back into 37, turns upfield, and he's going to be smacked out of bounds by Ty Stevens, and that's going to be a 15-yard penalty. So that was Ty Sperringer, and he took a shot out of bounds, and that's going to be on the Vikings.
And he's down over there. And, we talked about that, Brian, things getting a little chippy. Ty took a shot down on the other end, couldn't draw a flag, and I'm sure he's frustrated. He's a senior. He's, the quarterback, senior leader on offense coming back, and that scoreboard hurts when you've only got 10 high school football games left and the first one's not going your way.
Player down over there on the far sideline will step out, Jeff, as they attend to him. That is Sperringer. Hopefully he is okay. We'll be back with more Viking football here in the third period, trailing 42-6 after this on C98 The Bull. Moving around, though, so that is a good sign for that young man. We hope he is okay. And it's a collision sport, Jeff, and, these type of things happen. You hate to see it happen, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. Take your time. Make sure that, you're not going to compromise this young man in any particular way. And, Coach Lowe does a great job for Ripley High, and I'm sure the Brook Bruin training staff on that side doing the same. So he's now sitting up, so also a very good thing to see.
And for years they just used to say it is a contact. No, it's a collision sport. Basketball has become a contact sport.
Correct, yes.
The original rules didn't allow you to do that, but today grabbing and holding and pushing and all those things are legal.
That's a fact. Sperringer to his feet, and he will walk over and grab a seat on the Bruin bench, so hopefully he will be okay. And you called it, though, Jeff. It's frustration. You get cheap shot on one end, don't get a call, and then you go out of character and do something you shouldn't do. And I think Ty was just trying to make a play, but Sperringer was definitely out of bounds. Really wasn't even close.
So Brooke gets great field position once again at the 37.
Pistol formation. The give is to Linsky. Moore there to bring him to the turf, down across the 35, down to the 34.
For the most part, Brooke has their twos into the ball game, and they continue to run the same offense, that same style, faking up inside, sometimes dropping it off to the fullback, maybe getting the wing coming around and then faking even to that and setting up the pass play. So very diversified offense here for the Bruins, and they've caught the Vikings a few times tonight looking into the backfield and connecting on long passes.
Mozingo keeps it going up the far sideline, and he's deep into Viking territory down across the 25. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 23. Parker Boyd runs him out of bounds.
Again, a lot of faking in the backfield, but this time Quarterback just keeps the football. And Viking, no Casto coming off. He's dinged up a little bit. I think it's just a cramp, though, maybe. Just a cramp, easy for me to say.
6:01 remaining, clock stopped here in the third period. Mozingo high snap, fields it, hands it off. Opposite side and a high tackle up around the horse collar area, and there's another flag in as Pritt's going to be whistled for the penalty.
And again, that was not intentional. It's just the angle he had and the way the running back was running away from him. He dives out there and tries to make a play, and the flag comes in.
Will Scott on the carry to the 15.
They're going to call it a face mask. So, again, Brooke was able to get to the edge, Brian, clean and get into the Viking secondary before the pursuit ran him down.
So the Bruins once again deep in Viking territory at the 6-yard line. Zingo fumbles it, football on the turf, and the Bruins get back on it, back at around the 8.5-yard line.
A little bit of confusion that time with all that faking and crisscrossing back and forth. The ball comes loose. Vikings couldn't get to it, and falls. Brooke recovers at about the 9-yard line.
So loss of 3 on that fumble. Back to the 9, as you said. Unforced fumble recovered by Talinsky. 2nd and goal from the 9. Zingo will keep it. They'll run the option to the short side. Colin Moore will bring him to the turf around the 5-yard line.
Pretty good pursuit there by the Viking defenses. Zingo had very little running room and definitely couldn't pitch it to his running back. And as you said, more carousing. Big 3rd down play here now for the Vikings.
Parker Boyd in there on the stop as well. 4:45 to go, 3rd period, 42-6. 3rd down and 5 for the Bruins at the Viking 5-yard line. They would not be able to get a 1st down, so it's 3rd and goal. Mozingo under center. Hands off. Talinsky right up the middle, and he drags a Viking defender into the end zone for a Brook Bruin touchdown. 48-6, the score balloons to here in the 3rd period.
And you could tell he wanted that touchdown. He got that ball at full speed and never let up till he got hit at the goal line. Lower to the shoulder, gets in. Another Brook touchdown.
15 will be the kicker on this extra point. Sacrapani. Rocco Sacrapani will kick the extra point. Snap back. Rocco knocks it through. I had the opportunity to work with Rocco a little bit this summer, so he's got a bright future. He is a freshman, and he just knocked through his first extra point of his career. 49-6, the Bruins lead it. Let's go down to the sideline. Hall's Tires sideline report, Phil.
Guys, we talked a second ago about how situations like this are tough for young teams, tough for these guys to keep up at the scoreboard. But, you know, one thing that is striking on the sidelines, how these Viking coaches, there's no quit in how they're coaching these guys. They're still expecting them to do their assignments, blocking assignments, coverage assignments. You know, Coach Big Ed Smolders out here coaching these guys on the offensive line, expecting them to fight to the end of the game. So you talked about coaching opportunities, and that's what we're seeing here. These guys are going to coach them until the whistle blows at the end of the game. For the best in tires, advice, and service, visit the experts at Hall's Tire on Cedar Lakes Drive in Fairplain, serving Jackson County since 1977.
All right, Phil, thank you. As we appreciate Phil's Phil's report down there, Hall's Tires sideline report, and the Vikings have had a blowout here tonight. They're going to need some new tires. They'll get back to the drawing board on Monday. Hopefully Coach Sayer will be back with them. And, you know, a lot of teaching moments, Jeff, a lot of young kids getting their first action here tonight. So you kind of expect some bumpy road, you know, from time to time. You just want to continue to see that fight out of them. That's what you like to see.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Brian. We talked about it at halftime. You got to come out and compete. You just, you know, you got to try to make yourself better. And, you know, opportunities for some of these other kids to come in here and show what they can do.
Langley kicks it off to Myers. He's still on his feet out across the 35 to the 39. He fielded that about the 13-yard line. It was Langley to kick off.
Virgil Myers' kick return average for tonight, he's done a good job, Brian, of fielding the ball cleanly, getting north and south, picking up pretty good yards and getting the Vikings in good position to start their offensive drives.
4:14 to go here in the third period. 49-6, the Vikings trail. Stevens under center. And a timeout whistled by the Brook sideline. We'll take one, too. 49-6. 4:14 to go in the third period. We'll step out. More after this. Yards back to the 37-yard line. Brooke ready for that one. Apparently, they had to call that timeout to make sure.
Not a whole lot of excitement in the stadium here tonight on either side. As you said at the break, Brooks got a long drive home. They should be calling any timeouts.
It's
up
a
49-6.
crucial timeout in a 7-score game. 4:40 to go here in the third period. Here's the pitch to Myers, far side across the 40. Still on his feet out near the 44-yard line. Virgil getting an opportunity here tonight to run the football a little bit.
He takes a big hit at the end of that run as he got stood up, and one of the Brook Bruins comes from the backside and really lays the lumber to him. He pops right back up, gets to the sideline. So big third down here for the Vikings. They want to keep this drive alive, 3rd and 5.
Tyson Pritt in at quarterback for the Vikings. He'll hand it off. It's Kay. Cuts back across midfield. He's got the first down, angling toward the Brook sideline. He'll be dropped at the Bruin 45.
Good run by Kay. Didn't have anything. Bounced it to the outside. One Brook defender out there had a good angle on him. Finally got him chased down and brought down, but not until after he gets first down yardage. 1st and 10 Vikings at the Brook 45.
Tristan Stevens on the stop for the Bruins. Pritt will get under center. He hands it off again. This time it is Lawrence on the carry. Pretty good run there by Cody Lawrence.
Good to see these youngsters getting some opportunities to run the football. A lot of them have been playing special teams and other positions here tonight. They're young, and I think, Brian, they do a pretty good job jumping in there as a bunch of sophomores.
6-yard gainer there. Here's Brown again. He'll get the carry. He's got the first down across the 35, dives forward to the 33-yard line.
Good job by Hunter Brown as he powers the ball up in there. He's a senior, Brian, and he's a leader in that bevy of backs that the Vikings have, and he's the one that is kind of mentoring these youngsters. He does a good job.
These kids, these sophomores, this opportunities will pay dividends for them here in a couple of years. Pritt calls his own number, looking for running room near side, still on his feet, shakes a couple of Bruin tacklers, and he'll get inside the 30. Great effort by Pritt, Jeff. He gets down to the 28-yard line.
Sure is. It was a good effort, and he's played a good ball game. He's been on the defensive side of the ball most of the evening. Another one of those youngsters for the Vikings, 6 foot, 165-pound sophomore.
.130 remaining here in the third period. 49-6. Bruins lead it. Pritt under center, hands it off to D'Amico, right side. Full head of steam down near the 20-yard line. Pretty good gainer there of 8, and another Viking first down.
He hits the hole wide open, Brian. He's at full speed after step one coming out of that backfield. And if he has just a sliver to get through, he can turn that into positive yardage. So good job there of running another first down for the Vikings as they continue to drive the football here in the third period of play, unfortunately trailing 49-6.
William Garvey on the stop. Pritt gets the Vikings to the line. Cody Lawrence in the backfield. Pritt will keep it, and penalty flag, you guessed it. These flags are going to need to be replaced after tonight's game. I think they have seen a season's worth.
Pritt coming up hobbled a little bit, Brian. Like he might have a little stinger going on there, kind of holding that arm.
Vikings with an illegal procedure penalty, back them up 5. First and 15, back to the 25-yard line, moving right to left. 55 seconds remaining here in the third period. And Pritt may be coming out of the ballgame as he trots to the near sideline. 22 seconds, clock turning on the play clock. And into the ball game, a new quarterback.
Carter Neal, freshman, 6'4", 186.
Well, he looks the part. Big kid for a freshman, under center. And now a Viking timeout. 32.2 to go here in the third period. And they will take... I don't guess you can take them home with you, so we may as well burn them.
Yeah, the play clock was getting ready to run down. It was at 2 seconds when the Vikings took the timeout. Didn't want to give up another 5 yards to penalty. They got first and 15 now. So,
all right, Jeff, give me your penalty yardage guess. Give me a number of penalties and the total yardage in penalties.
I'd say we're at 32 penalties, and it was 175. I'd say we're at 240.
A little bit off on the number of penalties, 27 penalties, but 249. Good call.
Thank you.
Very good call.
I'd rather be calling touchdowns. Vikings.
Yes. Certainly not the stat that either coach would like to see. Neal under center, hands it off. Running room, near side, down across the 20. That's Casto.
Flag comes in, and surprise, and fumble. The Vikings recovered it. Casto comes up a little hobbled.
Penalty flag laying at the 20-yard line.
He came out earlier with a leg cramp, and once they start, it's hard to get him to stop. Get the pickle juice out.
So a face mask will be tacked on.
5-yard variety.
5-yard variety, yes.
First and 5, 14 seconds on a running clock. 22 on the play clock. Looks like the Vikings will let it go and run out the third quarter and try to score at the opposite end of the field.
That'll do it. Third quarter, 49-6. The Vikings trail will return. Fourth quarter action after this on C98, the Bull. He fights forward down across the 10, down to the 9-yard line. Gain of 6. Good push up front by the Viking offensive line.
First down, Vikings. As you called the play inside, barely inside the 10-yard line at the 9. So first and goal for the Vikings as they're knocking on the door.
Pritt back in there. He'll keep it left side. And he'll be brought down after a loss of a couple back to about the 10.5-yard line.
Had some blockers out in front, but the pursuit from behind was able to track him down and throw him down, as you said, for a loss, Brian, of 1. So second and 10 now for the Vikings.
Pretty good play out there by Marcus Reed, Jeff, a big guy. And Pritt, not the easiest guy to bring down in the open field, and the big man got his mitts on him and was able to bring him to the turf. Here's a pitch near side, down across the 10, down to about the 8-yard line.
Is that D'Amico?
That was
No, I'm sorry. It's 20.
Cameron Good on the carry.
Yeah, another freshman out there for the Vikings.
Stop made by Owen Hott, number 21 as well. Third down and 8. Third and goal, rather, from the 8 for the Vikings. 10:15 remaining here in the ballgame. Clock turning now. Clock won't stop with the score being north of 30. Here's the pitch. Looking for running room across the 5, and penalty flag is going to fly in as Good couldn't quite get to the corner in time.
And let's see. Their wives are going to be mad tonight. Those flags have been on the ground all night long, and good thing they're playing on turf instead of in the mud.
I still think they're going to have to be replaced. It's a season
worn out,
full of penalties.
Looks like it's going to be against the Vikings. He's over on the far edge, Brian, and possibly a hold. Or, let's see.
So it is a holding. I guess the holding was at the 4-yard line. So that'll back the Vikings up to the 14.
Officials have even lost their enthusiasm in their call making.
So 3rd down and goal from the 14. Here is Pritt with it, right side, coming to the near sideline. He's going to be wrapped up at about the 8.
A lot of bodies flying around out there still yet as the quarterback keeper, student body right type play, and Pritt gets back inside the 10, but it's a big 4th down here for the Vikings as Casto checks back into the ball game along with Ryan Campbell.
Ultringham on the stop. Pritt under center, 4th and goal from the 8. They give it to Good, I believe. He's going to be stopped at the 5-yard line.
So,
gain of a couple.
Noah Casto.
Noah Casto, excuse me.
He's brought down short of the goal line, so it'll turn the ball over to the Bruins at about the 4-yard line. Nose of the ball may be right up against.
7:45 clock turning remaining here in this ball game. 49-6. Vikings trailing big. And they will be back on the defensive end. They will go back to the drawing board this week. And they will have to travel to Buchanan Upshur next Friday night, Jeff. The last team the Vikings were able to get a victory over. So, you know, Buchanan will be ready for that ball game Friday night. They're having a tough night tonight as well. The last score we saw, Bridgeport with a pretty big lead on them. And
A pretty good Bridgeport team, Ryan.
Another timeout on the field. Let's go down to the sideline. One last time tonight, the Halls Tire sideline report. Phil?
Brian, I was listening to you talk about having to go to Buchanan Upshur next week. You know, that's another first for this young team, their first long road trip. And this is their first loss of the season, first game of the season. They're going to have to rebuild some things this week, clean up some things. You know, I don't care if you're the number 1 team in the state or if you're the last ranked team in single A. Those turnovers matter. They matter in August. They matter in December. So I think that's something they're really going to focus on this year. Get out here and coach some fundamentals up so maybe we can have Halls Tires. Fuel efficient, long-lasting tires that provide exceptional performance and extraordinary value. Halls Tire, Drive, and Fairplane.
All right, Phil, thank you. And turnovers are the great equalizer. There's no question about it. They can equalize things, or they can make it a lot more lopsided, depending on what side of the coin you would be on. And the Vikings on the wrong side of that coin here this evening. It's led to a lot of why this is such a lopsided game. Talinsky with a nice run right up the middle, out near the 20-yard line, delivering some punishment. We'll mark him down at the 21-yard line. Again, a lot of young Vikings out there, Jeff. That was Mason Filial on the
freshman. 5'7", 132. That Bridgeport Buchanan score is fine, O'Brien. 63-7, Bridgeport over Buchanan Upshur.
So these two teams will be limping in to the matchup next Friday night, looking for a victory, and even their record at 1-1. Pretty good defense there by the Vikings. Nowhere to run for Mozingo. They'll lose a yard.
Cooper Durst, sophomore for the Vikings. Defensive end makes the stop.
6:05 remaining, clock turning here in the ball game. 49-6 your score. Brook leading big. 21 points in the first, 21 points in the second, 7 in the third, and scoreless so far here in the fourth period. Mozingo in the pistol, 2 setbacks with him. High snap, ball's on the turf. He retreats, picks it up at the 1, reversing field, nowhere to go. Now comes out of the teeth of that Viking defense and is able to get up across the 10, out to about the 12-yard line.
High snap. Opportunity for the Vikings. That defensive front just couldn't track it down. Mazingo comes out of there and makes a little bit of positive yardage, not from the line of scrimmage, but from the goal line.
Yeah, great job, at least getting out of the shadow of his own goal post.
Ravenswood big over Magnolia, 34-0 in the fourth period.
3rd and 18. Mazingo rolling toward the Brook sideline, looking to throw. Neal in pursuit, floated out into the flat and in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and that will bring up 4th down and about 18 yards now.
Gibson, the receiver, the intended receiver on that. See if we can find some more scores here, Brian, of interest. St. Mary's 20, Roane County 30 in the fourth period. Hurricane 35, Winfield 7 in the fourth period.
Brooke will punt it away. Chance Brostek deep to punt. Takes a snap. High wobbly punt. And that's going to be a penalty flag. As a great job, Jeff, to field that punt as he was being hit. And he was early. The defender was definitely early in there as he was fielding the punt, and that will draw another piece of laundry on the turf.
Is that Cameron Good?
It was
the freshman
Cameron Good
that brought that in, showing some guts, or maybe youthful exuberance.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you what, that's tough to do. I've been back there before. It's not fun when that ball's hanging there and you got somebody bearing down, and did a good job of fielding that and controlling it.
I think that was Will Scott, I believe, that got in there a little early. And I'll take it down to the 24-yard line.
So great field position for the Vikings with 3:03 to go here in the final period of play. Another opportunity for the blue and white to try to get some points on the board.
Well, Brooke's not going to have any timeouts to take home with them here tonight, as they are now exhausted all of those with a 49-6 lead.
It's one of those coaches who's not been in the game yet.
Exactly. As you said, 3:03 remaining in the ball game, and it's a tough night for the blue and white. But you look at all of these young players out there on the field, and you feel like that has to be something that we're going to remember in a couple of years. This experience is invaluable for these young guys, and they're trying to make the most of it.
Without a doubt.
Handoff right side is Lawrence, and he'll have a pretty solid run, Jeff, down to about the 21-yard line. Give him 3 yards.
Another Viking opponent taking it on the chin tonight, as Princeton 46, Lincoln County nothing at the half.
Next two opponents for the Vikings, maybe some opportunities there for them. Pritt under center. Pitch out to Good. He has running room at the 20 and has his legs cut out from under him right at the 20-yard line.
Had something going on there early, Brian. Somebody got an angle and just got a hold of one of his feet, tripped him up a little bit, got him off stride, and allowed Brooke to knife in there and make that stop.
Eltringham, like a missile coming in there as he cut the legs out from under Good. Pritt will keep it. Designed run. And he'll run into a couple of Brook defenders at about the 17-yard line, a gain of 3. It'll be 4th and 3.
So this will be it for the Viking offense if they don't pick up this first down. 1:40 to go on a running clock. And Brooke will probably, if they stop the Vikings, just take a knee and close this one out.
Good thing they don't have any timeouts left, Jeff. Here's Pritt. Handed off up the middle, nowhere to go. Ball's on the turf, and maybe another Viking turnover. Would have been a turnover anyway, and it is. Altringham comes out of there with it.
So partner 49-6. A minute to go in this ball game. Running clock. Brooke does not have to do anything but take a knee. So, as you said, tough night for the Vikings. A lot of youngsters on and off the field for the Vikings. And as you said, hopefully Coach Sayre will be back in the locker room next week. Coach Simon having to step in here tonight. Big task for the offensive coordinator of the Vikings and the rest of the coaching staff, trying to move their duties around a little bit this week. But they'll be back in full force next week, too, in Buchanan.
Brooke will line up in victory formation. Take the snap, take the knee, and that'll be the ball game here. From Death Valley Memorial Stadium, 49-6 your final score. The Brook Bruins upend your Vikings here on opening night of Viking Football 2022. We'll step out when we return. We'll have the WVU Medicine Jackson General Hospital post-game report after this on C98 The Bull.